Hi, I'm Samuel Chan, and I'm so glad to be back in Toronto for the Canadian Opera Company's winter production of Madama Butterfly. I started my professional opera journey as a baritone with the company's incredible ensemble studio, where I had the chance to take part in such exciting productions as Eugene Onegin and the world premiere of Hadrian. Since then, I've been doing a lot of work across the pond in Europe, so it feels a lot like coming home to be back at the COC. Madama Butterfly is one of opera's most popular and enduring works, not only by Puccini, but across the entire opera canon. Its timeless tale of romance and tragedy, set to, arguably, one of the most beautiful scores ever, makes it an audience favorite that you can't help but return to over and over again. Today, I'm going to help you prepare for your visit with a bit about the opera's history, a breakdown of the story's main plot points, and an introduction to some major musical moments that you'll definitely want to keep an ear out for. Let's dive in. As I mentioned, Madama Butterfly is one of those stories that has been returned to and reinvented multiple times over the centuries. The opera as we know it was based on David Belasco's one-act play, Madame Butterfly, A Tragedy of Japan, which premiered in New York in 1900. And that play was based on a previous short story by John Luther Long, which itself was inspired by the 1887 French novel by Pierre Loti, Madame Chrysanthemum. Still with me? In Puccini's hands, the story premiered as the Italian-language Madama Butterfly in 1904 at La Scala in Milan. Given the worldwide popularity of the opera today, you might be surprised to learn it was a total flop. To be fair, the artist had not really received quite enough rehearsal time, and audiences really didn't like the character of US naval officer B.F. Pinkerton. But with a bit more time, and some revisions that included adding more warmth to Pinkerton's demeanor, the opera reopened to wide acclaim, and a blockbuster was born. One of opera's greatest tales of unrequited love, Puccini's Madama Butterfly recounts the devotion of a young Japanese woman, Cho-Cho-san, known as Butterfly, to a departed American naval officer, Pinkerton, whose eventual return to Nagasaki brings with it the seeds of heartbreaking tragedy. Having married the young geisha Butterfly on a whim, despite the warnings of the US consul, Sharpless, that the girl may view the arrangement differently, Pinkerton returns to America, leaving Butterfly to suffer the rejection of her uncle, the Bonds, and her relatives. 3 years later, Butterfly awaits Pinkerton's return, even declining an offer of marriage from Prince Yamadori on the belief that her American husband won't desert her. Ignoring attempts by Sharpless to warn her about Pinkerton's true intentions, Butterfly and her loyal servant Suzuki begin decorating the house for Pinkerton's arrival. But when Pinkerton finally appears, he is not alone. He has brought with him an American wife and expects that Butterfly will give her son to his father. Despite their best intentions, Sharpless and Suzuki fail to warn her in time, and the news prompts Butterfly to commit one final, devastating act to restore her honor in the face of a hopeless situation. Not surprisingly, the story has inspired a host of works in its 120-year history, from silent films to television and stage adaptations, and even a rock album. Claude Michel Schoenberg's beloved musical Miss Saigon draws heavily from Madama Butterfly, while relocating the action to 1970s Saigon during the Vietnam War. To mark the opera's centenary, Japanese composer Shigeaki Saegusa composed Junior Butterfly, about the fate of Cho-Cho-san's son Soro, to a libretto by Masahiko Shimada. Madama Butterfly showcases Puccini at the height of his musical prowess, featuring a score that remains unmatched for its beauty and dramatic intensity even today. Throughout the show, Puccini builds a rich sound world, sweeping audiences away to Japan through the weaving of Japanese folk songs into the score. Audiences may even recognize parts of the Japanese national anthem, Kimi ga yo, as well as the Star-Spangled Banner, setting the stage for some of history's finest musical storytelling. Of course, that leads us to Cho-Cho-san's Act 2 aria, Un bel di vedremo, one of the most popular and recognizable in the soprano repertoire. A heart-rending expression of love and longing, Cho-Cho-san's passionate plea is punctuated by Puccini's lush orchestration, providing one of the most iconic musical moments in the operatic canon. Puccini's score remains influential and memorable over a century since its premiere. For example, the melody of the humming chorus, incorporated by Puccini as a bridge between the second and third acts, is evoked in the song Bring Him Home from the international musical hit Les Misérables. I am so excited to be working with such a talented group of international artists on this production. Singing the title role, Japanese soprano Eri Nakamura is back at the COC after singing Butterfly as part of the company's digital season in 2022, since becoming the go-to interpreter of Cho-Cho-san around the world. Australian Chinese tenor Kang Wang stars opposite Nakamura as the feckless officer Pinkerton, returning to the COC after his acclaimed debut as Rodolfo in 2023's La Boheme. Hyuna Kim and Michael Samuel make their COC debuts as Suzuki and Sharpless respectively, while Julius An and Jean Woo step in as Goro and Bonds. Rounding out the cast, I am joined by fellow ensemble studio artists Caroline Podolak and Emily Rocha, who split duties as Kate Pinkerton. It has been an absolute pleasure working with all artists on and off stage, and we have put together a beautiful show that showcases many talents artistically, vocally, and musically. I believe it is worth seeing this production of Madama Butterfly at the COC because you get to hear this beautiful score by Puccini, one of the most beautiful written in the Italian opera repertory, conducted by Carrie-Lynn Wilson and the amazing COC Orchestra. Also, you get to witness an internationally diverse cast showcasing their talents on the main stage, which is a wonderful thing to see here in Toronto.